how a chief AI operations officer would use this platform. And this is important because if you use our AI firewall already and use AI health check, you want to get deep into the telemetry. So the AI SOAR allows you to do that. It allows you to get down to the binaries that are happening from the firmware all the way up the stack. And it helps you also, as a chief AI officer, really manage and test all your AI agents and your LLMs. So let's just go to that in the dashboard here. Obviously, the known KPIs that you're looking for are here. So all your data drift that you got going on with all your LLMs and agents, if you have bias and fairness, and you're trying to basically meet those objectives, you can track that here. Prompt injections, obviously very important. PII, so personally identifiable information or personal health information, how much leakage is going to these third-party models, or if you're monitoring your first-party models. Token overusage, hallucination, we're still seeing that in kind of data drift, right? The frameworks that you need to govern from. So here's the RMF the AI risk management framework. How you're going to map, manage, measure, and then MIT AI risk taxonomy. So this is all of the areas that you will be looking to cover, from all the way from performance all the way down to reliability, how many agents you have that are managed by your platform, token consumption, and AI efficiency. So are you actually getting a return on investment in this area? And to go in the area where you're going to spend a lot of time, it's obviously in agents. So this is where you're going to manage and monitor all of the agents that you have in your enterprise. You can also build and clone them here, so you can view what the knowledge, skills, and attributes they have. You can pause them if you're doing some certain types of tests and they're not meeting your requirements. You can edit in Builder. So if you want to add tools or knowledge, skills, and management, you'll do that here. You can clone them. And of course, you can export them to JSON, so you can update them however you want, or maybe you want to export them to a different platform. So you can do that here. I'm not going to spend a lot in Workforce because this was Department of War, but it's basically taking all of those different roles that you have in Department of War and making them AI agents. And so we're training them, and we're watching them from that perspective. All the tools they have access to. So, obviously we have over 242 tools. So we're on the platform. But the truth is, you can also connect your different systems. So if you've already got an investment in AI, like observability tools, telemetry tools, or you have some specific things you'd like to use, and we don't have it integrated in our binaries, you can do it there. So intelligence, this is your swarms. This is where you're going to get your bang for your buck. This is where, if you saw our previous videos, or you've used AI SOAR before, you can do a full incident response in the time that you'd usually be looking at a ticket. Red teams, blue teams, purple teams, and then if you find issues, which you will, especially if you're using AI to fuzz, if you're using AI to do the malware analysis, the vulnerability analysis, like, it's so much more intense and deeper than a human, because it's computer to computer, then you're going to want to use these tools. So more importantly, this is where you're going to spend a lot of your time, right? This is the benchmark manager. And so this is really, you'll develop different benchmarks for your AI agents and your large language models. You'll have a bunch of tasks you're going to run against them. That might be math. It might be human eval, multidiscipline, agentic task evaluation. We have about 42,000 tasks in here, and this will just grow. And it grows as you can be able to do a lot of, kind of the well-known checks on your agents and systems in your AI, but also the different rubrics. So, the criteria, the weights, the quantity, all the benchmarks that you're going to do against them. You're going to run challenge sets. You're going to have a schedule. And you'll see, I'll show you too, you can schedule these in the management console, so you can do them daily, weekly, monthly. And it's really important to do this because sometimes the weights change and you don't actually have any data on that. So like I just showed on those results, you're going to compare them against your humans. This is really important, especially as you're training these agents and you want to make sure that they're executing the task you want. So you want to see, whether they're actually using those KSAs you trained them on. Are they using approved tools? Are they trying to circumvent? Are they lying to you about what they're reporting? All that type of stuff is important. Of course, you want to do some adversarial attacks on them, because models and agents lie. Models and agents sometimes try to do things you don't want them to do. And you want to see also how hardened they are. So the same way you would red team a system, this really gives you some adversarial testing you can do on your LLMs, your agents, your machine learning. And this is critical. If you're going to create agents, not only do you got to deeply test them and really not trust them. So zero trust, they're called ZeroTrusted.ai, but you need to really understand what are you trying to get from them? What are you expecting? And anytime they go outside those deviations, you need to record it and you need to retrain them. So this is where you'll do that. You can do pre-flight readiness. You can certify them, and this is really important. Are they doing the KSAs that you add them, the knowledge, skills, and attributes? Are they following the connections? Are they trying to circumvent that? Your Rubik scoring. So obviously you're going to have a lot of scoring that you do with these models, these agents, and what I call the related infrastructure, right? So you're going to want to get that information, and then here's important. Then you're going to want to retrain them. So, like humans, agents make mistakes. Agents sometimes start out better, like when you first hire them or you integrate them, then kind of I don't know if you've been using like even Claude code, sometimes you start building the code out too large, the context window changes, and you don't get the results you want. The same thing happens with agents. Agents get, I'll call them lazy, or they don't use the long-term memory you allocate to them sometimes, and they don't do what you want them to. So you want to track that and do that reinforcement training on them, and they want to get better and better, and then you want to be able to get them fit scores. Um, when you run supervisor agents, obviously you're going to keep a swarm ledger, right? And you want to know when that supervisor selects all of your other agents to execute a mission that they're selecting the right ones. That the mission execution is getting either hitting the same on the KPI side or getting better over time. And you want to see if they can actually, is it the human interaction? Do you have to do a lot of human interaction? And that's an improvement opportunity for your agent. So if you're trying to build autonomous agents and you've got to fricking deal with them, every time even though you gave them an authentication credentials, they're still having connectivity issues, they're not resolving the problems, or worse, they're giving you issues that they supposedly resolved, and you go back and that didn't happen. So you want to be able to do this. You want to rank up the candidates. You want fitness gates, and you want to chain the custody of every single thing they do. So, just like the transaction testing on your supervisor and your other agents, you want to be able to do that here. Like it or not, you're going to have poor scoring candidates when it comes to your agents, and you're wanting to give them grades, right? So, and you're going to want to build them up over time. Luckily nowadays, you don't have to take an agent and really start from the drawing board, from scratch. You can go in there and see what the issues are, the errors. You can see what they did do well, what they didn't do well, and you can give them grades. If you've used Agent Mediation Hub before, you know that when we started this out, a lot of these agents were in the D and C area, not really the F. But as the technology and the LLMs got better, in OpenClaw, NemoClaw, and a lot of these, even the supervisory type of architectures come out, we've gotten better and better and better at training and watching how the execution happens across the board here. And so, yes, I agree that these grades look, they're all A and B now. And I will tell you the reason that is, it's not just because we're giving them good grades because they're showing up to work. We're actually going through and we're bench testing them, we're fixing them. And the great thing about, agents is once you tell them to do something, usually, I say usually, there's some B students in there. They don't always listen 100%, but they're pretty close. Usually they fix the issue, right? And if you give them the knowledge and you find out, well, I gave them this knowledge, skills, and attribute, and they don't use data dump correctly when they're doing their forensics. They're not using a right blocker. They're just pulling the image. Things that you would have to retrain your humans to do, you still need to do with your agents too. But you need to grade them, and sometimes you need to figure out, hey, why was my forensic agent doing so well, pulling A's all the time, and now they're doing B's or C's. And this is important because you find over time that at least now, the agents are actually have some degradation. You're going to be doing that reinforcement training. You're going to keep it up there, but you want to see why. Oh, it's because the tool they used isn't working as well. Or the access they had, they don't have anymore because you downgraded their access. So you can, it's not all in agents. I'll put it that way. You want to keep full chain of custody on all the evidence when you're training these agents. You see a lot APT29 threat hunt. We're replicating that, right? So these are evidence packages where you need to prove that this agent is ready to really go out and execute on the missions you gave it. And so, if someone said, "Hey, Waylon, I see you did an APT29 threat hunt, and you replicate those TTPs and a lot of the tools they're using," and you want to be able to prove that, right? Because I can just go say it and I can tell the agent, hey, act like you're APT29. But if you didn't give us the knowledge, skills, attributes, the tools, the session information, a lot of things that need to execute, you got to want to chain of custody on the evidence. And so that's really all that's for. OpenClaw, I love it. A lot of people hate it. But if you love OpenClaw and you want to run it securely, this gives you a way to do it, right? And including the integration of NemoClaw here. The reason we do that is just like the reason we give you the ability to build retrieval augmented generation with metadata tagging on our systems is because we want to give you a secure environment to create these and use these tools. They're good, but you want to be able to have them in a way that works well for you. And so once again, this is the ability to do claw scans, agent scans, MC purposer, jailbreak. A lot of the binaries, what we want to do is that backend AI fabric and data security, privacy, and reliability fabric provide it to you so you can go and conduct your missions. I'm not going to spend a lot of time here because obviously as a CIO, you're going to have your updated AI catalog, you're going to have governance, assurance, you're going to pull in AI risk, you're going to look for observability, you're going to integrate your machine learning ops, you're going to have a crap load of compliance that you're putting over these different systems, and then you're going to be doing AI safety tests on an ongoing basis. You're going to look for tokens, you're going to integrate guardrails, you might be doing AI web application firewalls if you're doing web services with them. You'll integrate the AI firewall, our health check. You're going to want to apply different AI governance frameworks and do application assessments on them accordingly. Um, you're going to want to do security assessments on your chatbots, internal, external, and then you're going to see how much you're using from DRM. And then automation, if you want to, you can log into those agents and really try to automate them as much as possible. This is Kubernetes security, and you're like, why is that in my AI? It's because this entire platform is on Kubernetes. So this allows you to really look at the Kubernetes security you have on your install, but also all of the ones that you want to be able to check on any of your different Kubernetes that you have in your environment. And last but not least, everybody knows what NVIDIA is, but this is really important because um, this comes with the platform. It basically integrates the binaries from NVIDIA, and you can call them, you can use them, and this goes into also, if we come down to administration here, on the platform, you're going to want to be able to set up your local small language models and your RAG admin, so your retrieval augmented generation admin. And we got a wizard. You can select the models by the endpoint. You can select how you're going to do the RAGs. You can basically provide the AI provider fallback key chain. So what that really means is like DNS round robin. We use Nematron Mini as the brain that ships with the product, right? But you can go back and do OpenAI. You can have other pattern templates. Remember, we're ZeroTrusted.ai, so from our perspective, we don't care what LLMs you use. We provide some of the open source to make it easy to connect and easy for you to deploy this. But a lot of our customers, right, this is on premise. You don't have to trust us either. We're going to give you the knowledge, skills, and attributes for your agents. We're going to give you the capabilities to set up zero trust architecture with your AI and your AI agents and related infrastructure. But when it comes down to it, this is your decision. And then basically CLI agent here with Claude, very important if you're going to be using Claude Code. And we, of course, have a software assurance tool too. And last but not least, I know you're the chief AIO officer, but we want to be able to know what different types of capabilities we can connect in our existing infrastructure. So this will allow you to do that there. Going back up to, the command center, and we have, once again, I don't have time to show you everything because this platform consists over 250 agents and then altogether about over 300 connections, 200 tools. That's because we're automating with the AI agents. And so you might be like, I would never use that tool. Well, it doesn't really matter if you'd use that tool or not, because the agents want to be able to have access to it to execute their missions. So you can see here, this unified test scheduler, you might be like, well, that's mostly, the software assurance and the dynamic scanning, the phishing simulations. That's not me, or the pen testing. That's not me as the CIO, unless you're pen testing your LLMs and your agents, which you should be doing, and this will help you do it. But also, you'll be setting up deep AI scans here. You're deploying your AI scans for your new agents every time they come online. And you're going to do LLM behavior quality checks and daily data drift. And so you are going to use this probably a lot more than you expect. And I put this up here because it's, I don't want to say it's a fire and forget, but you can schedule all of your tests over a year. And then, once again, we're doing continuous monitoring. So obviously you can do evidence freshness, but you can trigger it also. A new agent comes online. Well, then guess what you're going to want to do? You're going to want to scan that agent. You're going to want to make sure that it's following your zero trust architecture related to what it has access to, and it's not doing anything nefarious. And if it does, you have the kill switch to kill it. Thank you.